My name is Linda Dessel. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to be talking to you about how to use blogging to grow your business. So we're going to see the slides in a moment. And we'll see the next slide. And the next slide. Great, thank you. So we know that our potential customers come in all shapes and all sizes, and we also know that not everybody out there is the perfect customer for us. We also know that these days people are checking us out online long before they make contact with us. Next slide, please. So how do we show them that we're the right fit? And actually, just as importantly, how do we show them that we're not the right fit? Because we really don't want to waste anyone's time if we're not the right fit. So those are two important questions. And of course, my answer is, next slide please. Oops, I'm looking for the slide that says blogging can do that. Okay, sorry, go back. I'm sorry. That's fine. I'm sorry. We'll stick with this one. Sorry about that, Carla. So blogging can do that. And business-to-business companies that blog, it's been shown by HubSpot, which is an inbound marketing specialist. So back to the slide with the statistic about business to business. Great, thank you. So business-to-business companies that blog generate 67% more leads per month than companies that don't blog. So the next slide, please. And we see that business-to-consumer companies that blog generate 88% more leads per month than those who do not. So we're seeing some pretty extraordinary results from blogging, especially when you compare it to doing no blogging at all. Next slide, please. So the question that a lot of people have when I talk to them about blogging is, it sounds great, but how am I supposed to run my business, have a life, and do this newfangled thing called blogging? Next slide, please. So to that I say relax, because I have a plan. I'm going to talk to you today about the blogging tree and how to plant your blogging tree, which is all about having a plan for your blog so that you can do this in a way that's effective for growing your business, but also in a way that's sane for you. Next slide, please. So the first part of the blogging tree is the trunk, and that's the plan itself. And it's really about saying, okay, this is an important part of my marketing, which is going to grow my business, so I'm going to approach it with a plan instead of just jumping in and saying, okay, I'm going to start blogging, I'm going to blog every day, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So it's really just about, that's why we're here today. It's about coming up with a plan so that you're doing this strategically and effectively. Also, if you have a plan in place, you're going to be much more likely to keep up with your blogging, and that's what really makes blogging the most effective, is when it's done consistently. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Next slide, please. So the next part of the blogging tree is actually underneath the ground where you can't see it, and it's the roots. One of the challenges with blogging is that people see it as an add-on, as an extra, as something else to add to their already very busy schedules and busy lives. And they may not even see it as part of their business or their marketing, when really blogging is an important part of marketing, and it's very connected to whatever your marketing goals are, your marketing message, and the overall goals of your whole business. So it makes it a lot less confusing and clearer if you think about blogging in the same way that you're thinking about your other marketing. And every goal that you have for your business can be applied to your blogging, and you can just carry out your goals using this particular method. It's just another way of reaching your marketing goals and your business goals. Next slide, please. The next part of the tree that we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, I wanted to give you an example about the roots of your blog. So this is a client of mine here in Barrie, Ontario, who has an alternative funeral establishment. And when people come to the blog and to the website, what the business owner wants them to feel is that they're understood, that they're supported, and that they're getting what they need, which is exactly what she wants them to feel when they walk into her place, into her business. So it's really the blog, the website becomes an extension of her business. It's her home away from home, so to speak, or it's her business on the web, and she wants to give her customers and prospective customers and prospective referral sources that same experience that they'll get when they come into her facility. So here you see an article about a very difficult topic that people would definitely be looking for help with. And so when they find that help here on her blog, that really speaks highly about her and her business and about how caring she is about the people that she works with. Next slide, please. So the next part of the tree that we're going to talk about, your blogging tree, are the branches. The branches of your blogging tree are its categories. And the list of categories or topics that are displayed on your blog say a lot about you and your business. They say what you find important. They say what you're knowledgeable about. And categories are also a way to brand your business as experts in certain topic areas, those topic areas that they see as categories on your blog. It helps educate prospective customers about what you do. And it also helps to organize your content so people can find what they're looking for when they come to your blog. If you have a lot of content, or if you find yourself tempted to go beyond maybe 8 or 10 categories, you can use tags to divide your content further. Tags are like the index in the back of a book. If you think about how a book is organized, tags are very specific, and there's usually a lot more of them, and they really drill down to the very specific parts of your topic. Whereas the categories are broader, and they'd be more like the names of the chapters of a book. So here's a tip that before you add a new category to your blog, think carefully about whether you're going to have enough material to keep writing about that topic in the future. And if you're not sure, then you may want to think twice about adding that as a category. Next slide, please. So the next part of the blogging tree that we're going to talk about are the twigs. Would it help you to know that you don't have to create original content from scratch every week to be a weekly blogger? Actually, you can write one feature article per month and then spend the remaining 3 weeks adding shorter supplemental posts about the same topic. And that's exactly the method that I teach people how to do. And it helps you to keep your blog consistent without having to write these mammoth articles all the time. For example, let's say you wrote a top 10 list, which is one of my favorite kinds of articles, and I think it's one of the easiest to write. So let's say you've written a top 10 list. Later in the month, you could go into more detail about just 3 of those 10 things that you had in your top 10 list. Or you could add some additional resources that you recommend that will help people implement the suggestions that you made in your article. You could also interview a guest expert about the topic, or you could write a summary or a review of somebody else's blog post about the topic. Of course, you would include a link to the original content and give that person credit. The twigs of your blogging tree are also what I call these in-between posts, shorter posts that keep your blog active while still providing a lot of value to your readers and giving you great opportunities to build relationships with the other people whose content that you may be sharing or commenting about. And this is something that every blogging tree needs. And that's sunshine. And sunshine for your blogging tree is time, energy, and attention. Starting a blog and then letting it kind of die out gives the impression that you don't finish what you start, or that you've run out of things to say, or that you don't know a lot about this topic. None of these things are what you'd want a potential customer to think. So how do you make sure that the blogging keeps happening? The same way you make sure anything else happens, and that's schedule it in and then protect that time, just like you do when you're trying to get yourself to the gym or you're trying to keep a lunch date with a friend because that's important to you. You know, you make the appointment and then you keep the appointment. And here's another thing that it'll help you to know. You don't actually have to start, finish, and publish a blog post all in one sitting. And actually, I think that's the least effective way to work on your blogging. If you think about it, blogging involves a lot of different types of tasks. There's the brainstorming about what you might want to blog about, and that's a very creative, right brain kind of activity, and it can happen anywhere, and believe me, in my experience it does. And then there's, you know, jotting down some rough notes, maybe drafting, and then there's actually sitting down to write in more full sentences and to make it start to sound professional, sound polished. And then there's, of course, editing, you know, looking for any typos, reading your post out loud, which is what I always recommend. Then there's finding cool pictures to go along with your blog post. And then there's promoting your blog post on social media, maybe an email, and then maybe following up those social media posts with other conversation on social media. Like, there's a lot of different things that can go along with doing a blog post. And each of these tasks requires a different type of time and energy and attention. So the trick really is to think about which parts of your day and which parts of your week are best suited for those types of activities. You know, if you need a lot of mental energy to do things like writing, then you might want to schedule it for a time that you feel freshest. And for some people that's first thing in the morning. For others it's late at night. But you need to figure that out for yourself and to plan those tasks for that time. For me, I know that looking for photos, I'm sure for a lot of people it's kind of fun. It's a creative activity, but it's kind of a break from some of the other mental work that I might be doing. And so I might schedule that for a low point in my day when I traditionally kind of lose steam a bit and maybe want to have a bit of a break for my brain. So that's just one example of how I schedule those tasks. So that's when I would look to do that kind of task. So think about all the different things that are involved, and don't pressure yourself to try to get it all done in one sitting. And it really won't be as effective because you won't be freshest doing each of those activities. And also when you're editing your own blog posts, it's challenging to be the editor and the writer because you have to get into a more objective state of mind and see it with fresh eyes. It's a lot harder to do that when you've just written the post. So it's really good to stand up, walk away, at the least for a few minutes, and preferably for like a day or two, so that you're really coming back to it with fresh eyes. And that's why it's much more effective to do this at different times during the week. Next slide, please. So I get the question a lot, how often should you post? How often should you put a new blog post up on your website? Well, the most important thing I would ask you to consider is how often you think you can keep it up. Because what you want is to maintain the same consistency. If that's once a month, then that's fine, as long as you can keep it up. If you think you can keep up once a week, I think that's great. I think that's what most people should work towards with a business blog, is to be posting something new once a week. But really, you might want to start less frequently than that and work up to it. Once you get the hang of it, and once you get the hang of fitting it into your schedule. I use a blogging calendar to kind of plan out when I'm going to blog and about what. I can always change it as I go if I get new ideas, or if I don't feel as excited about a particular topic. I can always change it. But if I have that calendar, that helps me stay on track, and it helps me, again, to plan so that it's more likely to get done. The calendar that you're seeing on the screen is from productiveflourishing.com, and they have free planners that go out every month, but they also have premium ones you can buy for very low cost, and they're fillable PDFs so that you can actually type into them, or you can print them out and write on them. So anything that helps you to stay organized with this and helps you to plan out your consistency is a good idea. Next slide, please. Once you have your blogging calendar in place, you're going to be much more tuned in to the blog post ideas that are raining down on you all the time. And that's what the rain is here. It's the ideas that are just pouring down around you once you know how to listen for them. Think of it like having a set of blogging antennae. It's like when you're thinking about buying a new car and you're looking at a particular model, and all of a sudden that's all you see on the road is that car. It's the same thing with your blog topics. As soon as you start thinking about them more and planning for them, you're going to start to see related things pop up, in the conversations that you're having with clients, in the lineup at the grocery store, meetings that you go to, things you see on television. You're just going to find that they're popping up more because you have created this structure where you're planning to write about these topics. So when you start tuning in with that blogging ear and putting out those blogging antennae, you're never going to run out of things to blog about, because you're always going to have this sort of storehouse of ideas, and you don't have to deal with that writer's block or blogger's block. Your blog posts are going to keep flowing month after month and year after year. Next slide, please. Now we're going to talk about how to show off your blog posts in the most attractive way possible. And this is going to help to get more people looking at them, and once they are looking at them, get them to read them long enough to get to the end. You're going to want to add a royalty-free image to your blog posts, and you can look at some stock photo sites where you can find these. And occasionally you're going to want to post a video, or what they call an infographic, which is an interesting image that combines text and images to really concisely and effectively show an idea or a process, kind of like the instructions that you get with putting together furniture. You kind of got some words, some instructions, and also some graphics to help to illustrate what you're saying. As far as making text the most attractive it can be, you want to make sure that your writing is clear, easy to understand. You're not using big words or jargon, to try to sound smart. Just really keep it clear and simple so that your idea gets across and people don't have to work too hard to understand what you're trying to say. It's not about dumbing down your writing. It's just about, clearing out anything that could get in the way of someone getting your main point. And also about text, make sure that you've formatted your blog post for easier online viewing. So make sure there's lots of white space. Make sure your paragraphs don't go much longer than 3 or 4 lines. And make sure you've used some subheadings through the post, or lists, so either numbered lists or bullet points. And that just, again, helps to break down your ideas, make them easier for your reader to digest. And all of this makes your post as attractive as possible. Next slide, please. So finally, you want to plan out how you're going to share and promote your posts so that they reach as wide an audience as possible. So the B's are your friends, your fans, and your followers on social media and in your networks. People who like what you've said and pass it along to everyone in their own networks. It's called social proof. You know, people are showing that you're okay, because if they like you, then you must be okay. That's what their friends are thinking. So, and it really means a lot. It does mean a lot. You can also set the winds in motion by making sure that for every post, for every new blog post that you publish, you schedule out several messages that are going to go out at different times in order to catch people when they might be looking. Because like it or not, people are not sitting at their computers staring at your stream on any of the social networks just to see the latest thing that you've put out. I mean, it would be nice if they were, but it's not very realistic. So what you should do instead of hoping for that is to give them the opportunity to catch what you've posted. If they missed it the first time, that's okay, because you're going to send it out later. And it also, you know, helps to vary the schedule a bit, because the different people in your network are online at different times depending on their schedules and what they're doing. So, you know, give people the chance to see what you've written by posting it more than once. I mean, the worst case scenario is somebody will see something, you know, more than once about the same thing, but really that's first of all, unlikely, and second of all, they're probably just going to appreciate it, and if they didn't look at it the first time because they didn't have time to click, maybe they'll click this time, or if they did look at it the first time but they'd forgotten to share it, maybe this will remind them to share it, or maybe it'll make them think of something else. Like, it's never a bad thing to give people lots of chances to see your content, because your content is valuable and it's solving a problem for the person who is your prospective best customer, or for someone who may know someone like that. So your content is valuable and it's not an intrusion. That being said, you do want to make sure that that's not all you're doing on social media, is just posting about your own content. But that's the topic of a whole other webinar. We're not going to get into that. But you know, by putting out these little posts, these little social media updates about your blog post, you're really giving people a chance to see that content. You can also do this by emailing a link to your newest blog post. And maybe there's somebody that you met at a networking meeting and you talked about this particular topic, and this would be a great resource for them. So you might follow up and say, hey, you know, so-and-so, we talked about this topic and you were asking this question. Well, you actually inspired me to write a blog post, and here's the link. Or, you know, I remembered that I'd written a blog post about it and it might be helpful to you. Here's the link. So, you know, think about, when you've written a blog post, think about the people that you really would want to see it because it would be helpful to them, and reach out and let them know about it. And again, this is valuable content. You're sharing information. You're not asking them to do anything or to buy anything. You're just reaching out because you have something of value to share. So again, that's never going to be an intrusion. And next slide, please. So that is all the content that I'm going to present today, but I do want to give you the opportunity to follow up with me. If you'd care to ask any questions or give any comments about what you've heard, you can email me, follow me on Twitter, or visit the website contentmasteryguide.com. And I will be around if people have questions now. Otherwise, I appreciate your attention, and thank you for being here and for watching later. And thanks again to Carla for asking me.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording right now. And